Okay, hi again, you guys. Basically, I'm going to take some time out to do this video showing how I clean vintage handbags, such as like a lot of vintage handbags that I come across are like Coach, Berg, stuff like that. Um, I'm gonna do like, I don't know if this will be considered like a tutorial or a do-it-yourself cleaning your own vintage leather bag. As I stated in many of my videos, I never really take my handbags to leather cleaners because I clean them myself. I take chances and clean them myself. Being that I don't really pay too much for these items, um, it doesn't really, I don't know how to put it, but it doesn't hurt me to take a chance to clean it myself, see what will happen if I do it myself. Um, this is a Coach handbag that I shown in a previous video that I just got. And as you can see, it has a little bit of staining right there. It needs to be cleaned around the rim of the turn lock section, and also it needs to be cleaned up in here on the handle. So pretty much, since it's black, it's not really going to show too bad. If this was like a brown or camel color leather, I've have cleaned those before, and they came out perfectly fine. Once I wiped them down with sanitized wipes or a damp washcloth and the leather dried, it didn't dry with like a big stain or anything. I don't know if I lucked up, but it's fine. So I'm basically going to show you guys what I'm about to do to try to clean this off. I'm a huge fan of sanitized wipes. Like, most of the time they get the job done. I use these before I'll use the damp cloth or like alcohol in general, because alcohol is very drying. Sanitized wipes, they do have a form of alcohol in it, but again, it's not like me pouring a actual bottle of alcohol on my handbags. So it's a lot less harsh on the handbag to me than, just using a damp washcloth or a cloth with alcohol on it. I never do that first. I normally use like alcohol to remove like a pen stain from any vintage handbag or handbag in general. And when I do that, I normally take a Q-tip before taking something large like a wipe or a cloth. So back to this. So pretty much what I'm going to do is I just wipe the whole bag down. And you see that the leather is going to get damp from this, but being that it's not a camel color, it doesn't really matter. Most of the time, even if it was a camel color, it'll dry very quickly and evenly, and it wouldn't leave any stains. And I can actually show you guys one of my camel color handbags that I cleaned. So I dampened the leather, cleaned it off, and I'm just gonna, I don't know if you can see, but this of course starts off white, and then when you clean it, it gets dark because it's removing the dirt. I'm going to take it around the handle where it needs to be cleaned. Make sure you try to rub it as much as you can. And it's not more say rubbing the dirt inside of it. It's actually like getting the dirt off, because I can show you it. Like, I don't know if it's going to pick up, but this thing is dirty. The cloth is very dirty, and it has like the green stuff that was on here. It's on the cloth. It's not picking up too well though. The first cloth is pretty much done. Like, it's so filthy and dirty, like gross. So I'm going to move on to another cloth. And it dried off a little bit, so I'm just going to go back over it again. Now, I'm not saying that you guys have to do it this way, but I've done it this way, and this is a lot cheaper than taking it to a leather cleaner to repair it. And this method goes the same way as well as if I got one that was in really bad condition. I would always try to clean it myself before I would ever consider taking it to a leather cleaner. But most of the time, if I run across vintage handbags that are really worn down, like really worn down, I won't even waste my time buying them because I know that I'm not going to want to pay to take it to a leather cleaner. So, I mean, it's all up to the discretion of the person, but that's just how I am personally. I won't waste my time buying it. So, I don't know if you guys can see that, the green stuff. This is coming out from the inner circle of the turn lock. And it's just coming off. So I'll probably most likely take a Q-tip with some alcohol to penetrate deep down in the little circle, not more or less on the bag, just to get down in the circle to get that green stuff out. So back to the front, I also need to get it around here, also this part of the circle. But back to the front, I don't know if you can see that. It is still drying. That stain is still there a little teeny bit, but it's not as bad as it was at first, not as visible. So after it dries, being that this is not like a damp cloth, it's going to dry a lot faster. So every time it dries, if I still see the stain there, I'll just run it across there again. And I'll just keep doing it until it's lifted to the point where I feel, okay, that stain is not noticeable, it's gone. So I've took the cloth across this probably about 3 times now. So while this dries, I'm going to show you guys my other Coach handbag. So this is a vintage Coach handbag that I got from the thrift store. I don't remember how much this one was, but it wasn't a lot. It was probably like under $5 also. I caught it on a sale day. And as you can see, there's some like scrapings from like maybe a key or something scraping across it. Stuff like that is not really a big deal to me because that's normal wear on a Coach bag anyway. That really doesn't bother me. It's not like a big obvious rip, like if I took some scissors and cut a big rip in between it. It's just normal. So when I got it like this, I just wiped it down with a wipe, and this is how it looks after, and then I'll put it in my storage container. As you can see, there were some little stains there, but after wiping it a couple of times, the stains lifted a little bit. But I mean, before I pointed it out, like I could see them, but you probably wouldn't even notice them if you saw me in person and you saw my handbag. You wouldn't notice it. And I did not take these bags to a leather cleaner. So I'm just going to wipe the back of this one really quick so I can show you the effect of how it looks before and after it dries. So when you damp like a camel or tan color, that's how it's going to look. And you know what? I also have a khaki Coach that I got off of eBay. It looks the same way. Like it'll look like that when you damp it, but when it dries, most of the time, as long as you don't damp it like really damp, it'll dry perfectly fine. So I'm just gonna let this sit and I'm gonna move on to the next bag and show you the next bag. This one dried pretty much a little, like all the way. It's still a little damp there, but do you see how it looked after it dried? Perfectly fine, like the way it was before I wiped it. Okay, so this is another Coach bag that I got, and this is more in like more worn down condition than some of the bags I'm showing you. I'm just gonna wipe this one a little bit so you can see how it looks when you damp them a little bit. And I always just use the sanitized wipes because I mean it sanitizes and it doesn't like damply penetrate it, and it still lifts whatever insecurities you might have about the vintage bag without drying and leaving really big stains. So I just wiped it in a couple of areas. This is how it looked on the top. It was actually worse than this. Like this line here was actually more bolder than that. But what I did was I took a Q-tip with a little bit of alcohol on it, rubbed it across. It did leave that little slight fade to it, but that's fine. The bag still looks perfectly usable to me. Like that just looks like normal wear to me. But the line was a lot darker than that, like darker, not light like this. It was a darker mark that was on there, and I took a Q-tip with alcohol and just not rub. I didn't rub it hard. I rubbed it lightly to lift the mark that was on there, and that was the mark that it left behind. But it's not like a really bad visible mark. You know, like that looks like normal wear to me. So I'm gonna let this dry, then I'm gonna show it to you guys. There's another camel color bag that I had found from the thrift store, and I believe this was probably like the same price, like under $5. And as you can see, it has a little bit of wear on it, a little bit of wear. But normally, like after they've been in storage for a while, when I take them out to wear them, I'll wipe them down again, to whatever makes me feel comfortable. But it's perfectly fine. That's normal wear to the bag, but it's fine. Another camel color coach that I got from the thrift store, and all these bags have pretty much been wiped down. This is the khaki one that I actually got off of eBay, and when I got it, do you see how this looks now? When I got it, it was like really dirty, like really dirty. So I didn't put it in the washing machine, anything crazy like that. I just took a sanitized wipe and I wiped it down really good, and it looks a lot better than what it did than when I first got it. Like it wasn't like really dirty, like I dragged it through mud, but it was a whole different tint than what you're seeing now. It was a darker tint than this, and I wiped it all around, and it's clean now. I don't know if you guys are paying attention, but there was like a little mark on here. I wiped it down and the mark is gone off of this bag. This one, see, I wiped it down. It looks the same as the way I showed it to you before I wiped it down, and it's perfectly fine using a sanitized wipe, you guys. Now this was the Coach bag I just got, and look at it. And the mark is still there, but if you guys notice the before and after, it doesn't look as bad as it did at first. Also, I cleaned the handle. I'm going to clean it a little bit more, but it was like green at first. It doesn't look like that at all anymore. I'm going to wipe it down some more. And it actually looks a lot better than what it did at first, you guys. And don't mind the white stuff. That's just like the dust particles from the white, like the lint. I have to just clean that and dust it off, but it does not look like it did before. Bag, if I could do this and clean it myself, and this whole bottle of the Kleenex wipes was only like $4 in the store for the big casing of sanitized wipes by any brand. Like it doesn't matter what brand it is. I've used Walmart sanitized wipes. Those were Clorox, Lysol. Like I do this before I resort to anything else, and it's always worked perfectly fine for me. And it doesn't fade the leather. It doesn't dry the leather. Like I said, it has a form of alcohol in it, but it's not as harsh as taking a cloth of actual alcohol to it. If you ever need to remove like tough stains, like a tough mark or like a ink pen mark, I take a Q-tip or a cotton swab, dab a little bit of alcohol in it, and dab it to remove it before I take the sanitized wipe and clean it the rest of the way. But I never like rub it with alcohol. So I'm just going to wait for this to dry again. So I wiped the camel color one down, and it came back out basically the same way I showed you guys at first. This right here is still drying, but I wiped this one down and it looks the same way it did before I even wiped it down again. And let me just show you guys, like these are the dirty cloths, like, so it does pick up the dirt and removes the dirt and everything from it. So I really hope this is helpful for you guys, because this can help you guys from a lot of leather cleaners are going to lose business, but this will help some of you guys to take the chance versus going to pay all that money to get your stuff cleaned by a leather cleaner. So I wiped it down again, it dried, and the mark is slowly fading away. Like I don't want to just sit there and scrub that mark, because then you're going to leave an even more damaging scar to the bag. That's why I'm rubbing it all across and rubbing it, you know, not just singling it out to one spot, because it's going to be obvious if you single it to one spot. So this is pretty much how the bag looks. I'm going to work on that mark some more to my satisfaction, but This is the before and after of this Coach bag that I got from the store, and it looks a lot better after I wiped it down a couple of times to me. Again, disregard the lint. I have to just dust the lint off that came from the wipe, but other than that, it looks a lot better than what it did when I first showed it to you guys straight from the thrift store. So I hope this video was helpful to you guys. It definitely shows you a different way to consider cleaning your leather handbags versus paying an expensive amount of money to go have them clean at a leather cleaner. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Definitely rate, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later.